Okay, so welcome to class 23 of basic electronics. So we are discussing the small signal equivalent model or the AC model for the transistor. And remember that the small signal equivalent model or the AC model for the transistor is only valid when the amplitude of the AC signal is small. Okay, the amplitude of the AC signal or the amplitude of the AC current is much lower than that of the DC current or the DC voltage. Okay, in that limit this small signal AC model is basically valid. Okay, so let us draw this transistor circuit. This resistor RC and RB are basically the biasing resistor, and RE is also a part of the biasing resistor. What RE does is that it prevents drifting away of the Q point when beta or the common emitter current gain for the transistor basically varies due to change in temperature or due to aging of the transistor. Okay, this we have discussed earlier. Then this is the biasing circuit. The input is actually provided to the base of the transistor. The input signal is actually provided to the base of this transistor via this capacitor, and we might have a source resistance here also, Rs. So I repeat again that Rs is basically not a resistor that we have actually put here externally. Rs basically models the source resistance of this signal source VAC here. Okay, and we are never going to put a external resistor in the path of the AC current flow. Okay, generally we do not put an AC resistor in the path of the external current flow, and we have discussed the reason that the amplitude of the AC voltage is already very small. Putting an extra resistor in the path of the AC current flow basically reduces the base current that flows into the transistor. Okay, it reduces the AC component of the base current that flows into the transistor, and if the AC component of the base current is reduced, the AC component of the collector current would also be reduced. Okay, now here there is this resistor Re, okay, which is basically there to actually prevent drifting away of the Q point. Now we do not need this resistor Re in the AC path of the transistor, because this resistor Re is mainly present here to prevent drifting away of the Q point, or to prevent the collector current from drifting away when beta of the transistor basically changes. Okay, so we put a capacitor here parallel to Re, and this capacitor is basically put here so that the AC current does not flow through the load resistor Re. Okay, so when we consider the path of the AC current, so let us call this the capacitor Ci, and let us call this the capacitor Ce. E denotes that it is connected to the emitter. Okay, so when we consider the path of the AC current, so this is basically the path of our AC current into the base of the transistor, and then through the emitter, and then through this capacitor Ce. Okay, so this is the AC current path. Okay, the AC current does not flow through this resistor Re because this capacitor Ce acts as a short circuit at the AC frequency. It is assumed that at the frequency of operation Ci and Ce are chosen such that Ci and Ce basically act as short circuit at the AC frequency, okay, or act as short circuit to the AC current. Okay, so that is why the AC current basically would not flow through this resistor Re, because it sees a short circuited path through this capacitor Ce. Okay, Ci acts as a CE acts as a short circuit to the AC current. Okay. Similarly, CI also acts as a short circuit to the AC current. Okay. Now, when we consider the DC current path through the base, so this is basically the path of DC current flow. The DC current flows through the resistor RB and then into the base of the transistor and then through this resistor RE, because the DC current cannot flow through this capacitor CE. Okay, capacitor basically blocks the flow of DC current. So the DC current flows through the resistor RB and then into the base and flows out of the emitter and then through this resistor RE. Okay, so this is the DC current path, this red color line. So DC current path. Okay, and when we draw the equivalent small signal model of the transistor, we have three terminals for the transistor. One is the base, another is the collector, another is the emitter. So these are the three terminals for the transistor. And last day we have discussed about the small signal AC modeling for all these three parts. Okay, so the base to emitter junction is basically modeled by the small signal equivalent resistance or the small signal base resistance. The small signal base resistance is denoted by this symbol R pi. Okay, and R pi is indeed equivalent to that of the small signal or diffusion resistance of the diode. So you remember that at moderate to low frequency, the small signal or AC model of the diode is basically represented by a resistor, which is known as the small signal AC resistor or the diffusion resistor or the diffusion conductance. Okay, so this R pi here is really equivalent to the small signal resistance of the diode, because the base to emitter junction really behaves as a diode. So R pi is basically equivalent to the small signal or the diffusion resistance of the diode. Okay, and then the voltage drop across this resistor R pi is called V pi. So V pi is basically the AC component of the voltage drop across the base to emitter junction. Okay, and the collector to emitter terminal is basically represented by a dependent current source. This current source is dependent on V pi and this is denoted by Gm times V pi. This also we have seen the last day. Okay, so this is basically the small signal AC model or the equivalent small signal model for the transistor only. Okay, now we also discussed that when we consider the small signal model, this voltage source VCC can be considered to be the AC ground, because the function of a voltage source is actually to push current through resistor or impedance or impedances, but the voltage source VCC is a DC voltage source and a DC voltage source cannot generate an AC current. That is why this voltage source VCC can be considered as AC ground or can be considered as a ground in the small signal AC model. Okay, so we have the ground terminal here, which is basically the VCC terminal, but because this is the AC ground or this can be considered as the AC ground, this is our ground terminal here. And then between the emitter and the ground, we have two impedance connected. One is this CE, which is basically acting as a short circuit at the AC frequency, and another we have this resistor RE. Okay, but since CE is basically acting as a short circuit at the AC frequency, no AC current would actually flow through this resistor RE because it already has a short circuited path through CE. Okay, so basically RE therefore would not come in the small signal or AC model because the AC current does not flow through this path. So in the small signal or AC model, the resistor RE would not come. Okay, and this path through CE is basically a short circuit to the AC frequency. Therefore, the emitter can be assumed to be directly connected to the ground. Okay, so the emitter is basically directly connected to the ground over here, because the AC current directly comes out of the emitter and directly flows through this path, and CE is basically acting as a short circuit at the AC frequency. Since CE is acting as a short circuit at the AC frequency, therefore the emitter can be assumed to be directly connected to the ground. Now we also have these resistors RB here, RC here, and RS here. Now this VCC is considered as a ground as far as the AC frequency is concerned, or the AC signal is concerned. So VCC is basically the AC ground, and between this AC ground VCC and the collector terminal, this resistor RC is basically connected. So we connect this resistor RC over here. Okay. Now again, between the AC ground, which is VCC, and between the base, this resistor RB is actually connected. Okay, so we connect the resistor RB between the base and the AC ground. So this is our resistor RB over here, and then this CI can be assumed to be a short circuit at the AC frequency. So CI does not come in the equivalent model. And then again, between this base and this AC ground over here, this series combination of VAC and RS are basically present, okay, between the base and the AC ground. So we put these things over here. So this is our resistor RS, and then we have this AC voltage source VAC over here, then ground. So this is the resistor RS. Okay, so this is the small signal equivalent model for this circuit or the AC model. Okay, so if finding out the gain and everything was not clear to you the previous day, let us again find the gain. So let me draw this model over here again. We had this voltage source VAC, which is connected to the resistor RS. So I am redrawing the figure of the last page actually. Then this is basically connected to the AC ground. Then a resistor RB is connected. Okay, and then this resistor R pi is connected. R pi is basically the base to emitter diffusion resistance, or the small signal base resistance, and there is a voltage drop V pi across R pi. So V pi is basically the AC component of the voltage drop across the base to emitter junction. Okay, and so this is our base. This is the emitter terminal, which is grounded, and then this is the collector terminal, suppose. So the collector is basically represented by a dependent current source, which is GM V pi, and then we have this resistor RC. And the output voltage is basically taken across this resistor RC and the AC ground. So if you see this figure over here, the output voltage is basically taken through a capacitor from this point. Okay, this capacitor C0 is put to filter out the DC signal at the output, or the DC voltage at the output, because we only want the AC voltage at the output, or we only want the amplified AC signal at the output. So we put a capacitor C0 over here to basically filter out the DC voltage. Okay, so V0 is basically the voltage between the collector and this point, okay, which is basically the AC ground. Okay, so V0 is basically the voltage drop across this resistor RC. Okay, so we have RC over here, and then V0 is basically the voltage drop across this resistor RC. Okay, and this collector current basically flows in this direction, the AC component of the collector current, that is. Okay, IC. Let me actually draw with a different color, otherwise. So the AC current basically flows in this direction across the resistor RC, IC. Okay, now we want to find the gain of the transistor. So gain is basically the ratio of the output voltage to the input voltage. So here the gain is basically V0 divided by the input voltage VAC. Okay, so we need to find an expression for the gain. Okay, so gain basically measures by what factor the input voltage is amplified at the output. Okay, so gain is the ratio between the AC component of the output voltage and the AC component of the input voltage. So it is basically the factor by which the AC signal is amplified at the output. Okay, so we first need to find this voltage drop V pi across the resistor R pi over here, because the collector current depends on the voltage V pi. Okay, so we first need to find this voltage drop V pi over here. So V pi is basically equal to RB parallel to R pi. So this is very simple to understand, I am not explaining it anymore, divided by RB parallel to R pi plus RS. So this parallel combination of resistor RB and R pi is basically lying in series with this resistor RS over here. Okay, into VAC. Okay, now we have this expression for V pi. Now IC is basically equal to GM times V pi. Okay, and the output voltage V0 is basically equal to minus IC times RC. Okay, why minus? Because the current is flowing from the ground, or the direction of the current is from the ground towards the voltage source V0. That is why minus IC RC over here. Okay, so this is equal to minus GM V pi times RC, so equals to minus GM RC V pi, and we already have an expression for V pi. So minus GM RC V pi is RB parallel to R pi divided by RB parallel to R pi plus RS into VAC. Okay, so the gain is actually denoted by this capital A. A is equal to gain. This is equal to V0 divided by VAC, which is equal to minus GM RC RB parallel to R pi divided by RB parallel to R pi plus RS. Now we know GM is equal to beta divided by R pi. Okay, so this we have already studied the last day. GM is equal to beta divided by R pi. So we put this value of GM over here. So this then becomes equal to beta divided by R pi RB parallel to R pi divided by RB parallel to R pi plus RS, and we have an RC over here also, this RC. Okay, so this is the expression for the gain of the transistor. There is a negative sign here. Okay, now note that this gain of the transistor is negative, which basically means that the output is 180 degree phase shifted with the input AC signal. Okay, so basically this is the expression for this gain of this transistor. So we will actually do a problem to understand this situation. Okay, before we actually go into the problem, let us actually study another thing. So what is the AC parameter of a small signal AC model? Okay, what are the AC parameter or the small signal parameters? Small signal parameters. So one of the small signal parameters which we have seen is actually R pi, which is basically given by the thermal voltage Vt divided by the base current Ib. Okay, so this is basically R pi. We should write actually Ibq here because this is basically the DC component of the base current. Okay, Ibq is basically the DC component of the base current, and R pi is basically the thermal voltage Vt divided by Ibq. Okay, and Vt we already know that this is equal to Kt divided by Q, where K is basically the Boltzmann constant, T is the temperature, and Q is the electronic charge. Okay, so R pi is basically Vt divided by Ibq. Then we have Gm, which is also a small signal parameter in the equivalent model, and Gm is basically equal to beta divided by R pi. So these two parameters we have already studied, and this R pi is basically known as, let me rub this part, the R pi is basically known as the small signal base resistance Gm is basically known as the small signal transconductance. Okay, now there is another parameter R0. R0 is basically known as the small signal output resistance. Let us see where this parameter comes from and why this is known as the output resistance of a transistor in the small signal equivalent model. So this, up to now what we have studied is that this is our small signal model of the transistor. So between the base and the emitter we have this resistance R pi, and the voltage drop across this resistance R pi is basically V pi, and this is the base, this is the collector. The collector terminal is basically represented by a dependent current source whose magnitude is Gm times V pi. So this is basically an ideal current source, actually Gm V pi. Okay, and a ideal current source is basically a current source which actually drives the same current irrespective of the voltage drop across it. Okay, so if I say that this is my ideal current source I, this basically means that irrespective of its terminal voltage V, this I is going to drive the same current, or I is going to pull the same current from the circuit. Okay, that is what an ideal current source is. Okay, so that is the behavior of an ideal transistor, that in an ideal transistor the collector current is independent of the voltage drop across the base to collector junction in the forward active mode. Okay, provided that the transistor is in the forward active mode, the collector current is basically the independent of the voltage drop across the base to collector junction. Okay, so the collector terminal in the forward active mode behaves as an ideal current source for an ideal transistor. Okay, so this is Gm V pi, and then we have the emitter terminal over here, E. Okay, now this was the equivalent model for the transistor only, and then we might have external resistors which we need to connect it to this small signal equivalent model of the transistor. Okay, now for a non-ideal transistor we have seen earlier that the collector current is not exactly constant with the collector to emitter voltage, but the collector to emitter current, or the collector current basically increases slightly with the collector to emitter voltage, and this effect that we have studied is known as early effect. This we have studied earlier. So this is this horizontal axis is basically our collector to emitter voltage VCE, and this vertical axis is basically our collector current axis IC. And for an ideal transistor, provided that the transistor is in the forward active mode, the collector current would basically be constant once the transistor reaches the forward active mode. So collector current is basically constant with VCE. Okay, so this is the behavior of an ideal transistor. Okay, now we have seen that due to base width modulation or early effect, the collector current is not exactly constant with the collector to emitter voltage, where the collector current increases slightly with the collector to emitter voltage. And a more practical graph of VCE versus IC is basically of this type. Okay, here again I repeat that I have exaggerated this increase in collector current with the collector to emitter voltage. It does not increase at such a fast rate, but here for the sake of representation, I have actually exaggerated increase in collector current with the collector to emitter voltage. Okay, so we have seen that the collector current is not exactly constant with the collector to emitter voltage, but increases slowly with the collector to emitter voltage. Now, how this is modeled, we have also seen that we assume that this portion of the graph is basically a straight line. So, this is for the ideal case, and this is for the practical case. Okay, and how this is modeled is we extrapolate this straight line. Assuming that this part of the graph is a straight line, we extrapolate it and make it intersect this horizontal axis. Let us assume that it intersects the horizontal axis at minus VA, and this VA is known as the early voltage, and the collector current is actually now given by this equation of the straight line. So we just write the equation of the straight line. So IC is approximately equal to IC0 1 plus VCE divided by VA. Okay, where IC0 is basically the point at which it intersects this vertical axis. Now, assuming that the collector current increases at a very slow rate with the collector to emitter voltage, IC0 can approximately be taken to be ICQ, or the Q scan collector current. So this is approximately equal to ICQ 1 plus VCE divided by VA. Okay, so ICQ may lie somewhere here. Let us assume. So if we assume that the collector current actually increases at a very slow rate with the collector to emitter voltage, IC0 can be taken to be approximately equal to ICQ. Okay, ICQ 1 plus VCE divided by VA. So now let us assume that this is our Q point, just as I put it here. So if this is our Q point, then this is basically our DC operating voltage. So this point is VCEQ, and ICQ is actually given. We extrapolate it in the horizontal direction and make it intersect with the current axis. So this point is basically our ICQ. Okay, now let us assume that we have applied an AC voltage on the top of the DC voltage. So the total voltage basically increases by a very small amount, delta VCE, let us say, and this small increase in VCE, that is delta VCE, is basically due to the AC signal. Okay, so there is an AC base current, and due to that an AC component of the collector current flows, and due to the AC component of the collector current, the AC component of the collector to emitter voltage would also vary. Okay. So, this delta VCE is basically the AC component of the collector to emitter voltage. So, we also have a small increase in the AC component of the collector to emitter current, which is basically given by the extrapolation along the horizontal direction. So, this small increase is actually delta ICE. Okay. Now, we need a parameter which relates the small increase in the collector current with the small increase in the collector to emitter voltage. So, delta IC divided by delta IC divided by delta VCE in the limit that delta VCE tends to 0 is basically equal to ICQ divided by VA. Okay, you can already understand from this expression over here. Okay, and this is actually equal to del IC del VCE. Okay, so this parameter basically relates the small increase in collector current with the small increase in the collector to emitter voltage, and this is basically the output resistance R0. Okay, now the collector to emitter voltage is increasing slightly, and that is why the collector current is actually increasing slightly. Okay, or in other words, when the collector current is increasing slightly, the collector to emitter voltage is also increasing slightly. Okay, so therefore this component actually comes in parallel to the collector current source, or this dependent current source GM Vπ, and this is denoted by the output resistance R0. Why this is denoted by the output resistance R0 is basically it is actually connected across the output. Okay, it is connected across the connected at the collector terminal, and the collector terminal basically we take as the output, and that is why this resistance is known as the output resistance or the small signal output resistance. Okay, now whenever this collector current is going to increase for some reason, let us say the base current has increased, and that is why the collector current has also increased. Since this collector current actually flows in this direction, we see that the output voltage will also increase. Output voltage is basically the collector voltage. So according to this graph over here, if the collector current increases, the collector to emitter voltage would also increase. Okay, so since the collector current basically flows in this direction, in the equivalent model, the collector voltage, which is also the output voltage V0, will also increase due to the presence of this output resistance R0. Okay, and this resistance R0 is basically present between the collector terminal and the emitter terminal. Okay, so just to avoid confusion, this resistance R0, the output resistance R0, is basically not present between the collector and the ground, but it is present between the collector terminal and the emitter terminal. Okay, you see here that from this graph the collector current is increasing with the collector to emitter voltage. Okay, so since the voltage is the collector to emitter voltage, the resistance R0 is basically present between the collector terminal and the emitter terminal. Okay, so let me write it here. R0 is known as the output resistance, the small signal output resistance of the transistor, the small signal output resistance or simply the output resistance of a transistor it is present between the collector and the emitter terminal. Okay, so we have three parameters when one considers the small signal equivalent model. One is this small signal base resistance R pi, this parameter over here. The second one is the small signal transconductance, this parameter over here, and the third parameter is the small signal output resistance, or simply the small signal resistance R0 given by ICQ divided by this is VA divided by ICQ, and this is known as a small signal output resistance. Okay, actually in this equation we have actually done a mistake here. So this should be R0 inverse actually, because del IC del VC, this basically has the parameters of conductance, so this should be R0 inverse. Okay, so we can also actually write it as G0, where G0 is basically the small signal output conductance of the transistor. Okay, now we will do a small problem on transistor, and we'll do the entire problem starting from scratch actually. So you are given a transistor circuit, and what ultimately you have to do is you have to find out the gain. Okay, so we have this circuit over here. This is a slightly complicated or lengthy problem which we are going to solve, so just be patient. So this voltage V plus is equal to 16 volts, and then we have this transistor over here, and then we have another resistor here Re, which is equal to 3K. So Re is equal to 3 kilo ohms, and this point is actually set at minus 6 volts. Okay, and then we have this capacitor here. This is the output capacitance, which is again put to actually block the DC component at the output. So just as we stated that the output, we do not want the DC component, we are only interested in the amplified version of the AC signal. Okay, so this capacitor C0 is put to actually filter out the DC voltage at the output. Okay, so the capacitor basically blocks the DC voltage, and RL here, which is equal to 6.8 kilo ohms, 6.8 kilo ohms, and across RL we have this output current I0, and then here connected to the base we have a resistor RB, which is grounded, and RB is equal to 10 kilo ohms, and then we have this coupling capacitor Ci, and then the source resistance of 0.5 kilo ohms is present, and then this source voltage is actually present, and this is the AC voltage that we have to amplify. So this is basically the input AC voltage Vi. So this is our entire circuit, and the AC voltage source basically provides us with the input current II. So what we have to find is basically these three AC parameters or small signal parameters, GM, R pi and R0. This we have to find. This is number 1. Number 2 is we have to find the current gain AI equal to I0 divided by II. So this is the small signal current gain, and then we have to find the small signal voltage gain or simply the gain. So here it is written as AV because the current gain we have written as AI. So AV is basically the small signal voltage gain, which is V0. V0 is the voltage here, the AC component of the voltage basically, divided by Vi. These three parameters we have to find, and we are given with the information that beta for the transistor is equal to infinity, and this voltage Va, which is also known as the beta of the transistor is equal to 100, and this voltage Va, which is the early voltage, is equal to infinity. Okay, so this is the entire problem. So now note that GM is basically equal to beta divided by R pi, and R pi is basically equal to Vt divided by Ibq, where Ibq is the DC component of the base current, and our output resistance R0 is equal to Va divided by Icq. Okay, now note that R pi is basically Vt divided by Ibq, so we need to find Ibq first. Ibq is the Q scaled base current or the DC component of the base current. Okay, so we have to solve the transistor for the DC voltages and the DC current first to actually get this parameter Ibq. This I have stated earlier that since the AC model or since the parameters of the AC model are dependent on the DC currents, therefore to find out or to make a small signal equivalent model or AC model for a transistor circuit, we actually first need the DC values of the different currents. So we basically need to do a DC analysis of the circuit first. Now when we do a DC analysis, let us understand that which parts would actually be omitted from the DC circuit or DC equivalent circuit. Okay, so note that no DC current can flow through the capacitors, and that is why no DC current would actually flow in this direction. Okay, so the capacitor basically disconnects this part of the circuit from the DC model. Okay, because no DC current can actually flow in this direction. Okay, so this part of the circuit would not remain in the DC model or the DC equivalent circuit. Similarly, this capacitor C0 also prevents any flow of DC current in this direction. Okay, so the capacitor basically acts as an open circuit to the DC voltage and DC current. Okay, so as far as the DC part of the circuit is concerned, this capacitor C0 basically isolates this resistor from any DC voltage and DC current. So this part of the circuit would also not stay in the DC circuit. Okay, so these two parts of the circuit are not present in the DC circuit as far as DC current flow is actually concerned. Okay, so our DC equivalent circuit for this transistor or the DC equivalent circuit for this transistor circuit is basically given by only this part. Okay, so let us actually draw this part of the circuit. So I am drawing this part of the circuit in a different page. So we have this 16 volt source over here. Then we have this transistor, and this resistor RC is equal to 6.8 kilo ohms. This resistor, so I think I have omitted the writing this resistor RC over here. So RC is basically equal to 6.8 kilo ohms. Okay, so RC is equal to 6.8 kilo ohms. Then this resistor RE is basically equal to 3 kilo ohms. And then we have this base resistor. Sorry, this is not actually connected to the ground, but this was connected to a minus 6 volt source. Then we have this base resistor over here, which is basically grounded, and RB is equal to 10 kilo ohms. Okay, so we first need to find the DC component of the base current to find out the value of R pi. Okay, so to find out the DC component of the base current, we basically solve this Kirchhoff's voltage law in this loop over here. Okay, so 0 minus 6 volts is equal to the resistance is equal to the voltage drop across this resistor RB, which is equal to IBRB. So a current of magnitude IB flows through this resistor RB, plus the voltage drop across the base to emitter junction, which is approximately equal to VBE on in the forward conducting mode, plus the voltage drop across this resistor RE, which is equal to IERE. Okay, so a current of magnitude IE actually flows through this resistor RE, and we are actually solving this for the DC voltage and DC currents actually. Okay, right now there is nothing that is AC, everything is DC. Okay, so 6 volts is equal to IB into 10 kilo ohms, plus we take VBE on to be approximately 0.7 volt. IE is beta plus 1 times IB, and beta is 100, so 100 plus 1 times IB into RE, and RE is basically 3 kilo ohms. So this gives me 6 volts minus 0.7 volts is basically equal to 10 IB plus 303 IB. Okay, so 5.3 volts is equal to 313 IB. So IB is simply 5.3 divided by 313 milliamps, which gives me 0.0169 milliamps. Okay, so this is basically IB. This is actually IBQ actually, and R pi is basically equal to VT divided by IBQ. I am writing simply IB here to denote the DC component of the base current, and VT is approximately equal to 0.026 volts at room temperature divided by 0.0169 milliamperes. So this gives me 1.53 kilo ohms. Okay, so GM is basically equal to beta divided by R pi, which is basically 100 divided by 1.53 millimho. So mho is the unit of conductance. Because we are dividing it by kilo ohms, therefore the unit is millimho. Okay, which is equal to 0.0 0.065 millimho. Okay, and R0 is basically equal to R0 is basically equal to VA divided by ICQ, and since VA is basically infinity, irrespective of the value of ICQ, R0 is actually also infinite. Okay, since VA is equal to infinity. Okay, so we have this three parameters of the small signal AC model. One is this R pi, which is equal to 1.53 kilo ohms, 1.53 kilo ohms. GM is equal to 0.065 millimho, and R0 is equal to infinity. So this is the answer of question number 1. So it asks to find out these three parameters. Now the second question is, what is this value of the output current I0 divided by the input current, and what is this output voltage divided by the input voltage. So this is the voltage gain AV, and this is our current gain AI. So let me show you the location of this voltages if you have forgotten. So the output voltage appears across this load resistor RL. So this is our output voltage V0, and the current across this load resistor RL is given by I0, so which is the output current. The input current is the current that the voltage source Vi is basically providing. So this is our input current II, and the input voltage is basically Vi. Okay. So we basically, now that we have found out the small signal or AC parameters of the circuit, we are actually ready to do the AC analysis and find out the AC components of the voltage and the currents. Okay. Now let us first draw the small signal model for this transistor circuit. Actually, that would make the problem a lot much easier for us. Let us first draw the small signal equivalent model for this circuit. Okay, we have three terminals just as before. One is this base, one is the collector, and another is the emitter. Okay, as I stated that between the base and the emitter, the small signal base resistance R pi is actually present. So this is R pi, and the voltage drop across R pi is basically given by V pi. Okay, and now between the base at this point and ground at this point, this base resistance RB is present. So we put the base resistance RB between the base and the ground, and then between the base and the ground over here, the series combination of this voltage source Vi and this source resistance Rs is also present. Okay, we will neglect Ci because we are assuming that Ci is basically a short circuit at the AC frequency. Okay, so this resistance Rs which is equal to 0.5 kilo ohms is present. Rb was equal to 10 kilo ohms and R pi was equal to 1.53 kilo ohms. And then there is this input signal source Vi. Okay, the emitter here is actually connected to this minus 6 volt source through this emitter resistance Re. Okay, now we have earlier discussed that a DC voltage source cannot act as a source for the AC current. So as far as a DC voltage source is concerned, the DC voltage source is basically an AC ground in the small signal or equivalent AC model. So this point is basically our AC ground, and between this emitter and this AC ground over here, this resistor RE is present. So we draw this resistor RE between the emitter and the AC ground. So RE is equal to 3 kilo ohms, and the collector to emitter terminal is basically represented by a dependent current source GMV pi over here. So this is GMV pi. Ideally, all of this actually should be written in italics and in smaller case, because we are denoting AC components. And between the collector and the emitter, this output resistance R0 is also present, although R0 is actually infinite in this case. I am actually writing it here just for the sake of completing this model. And then this voltage source 16 volt is also an AC ground for the AC signal. Okay, because this DC voltage cannot again generate or create an AC current. Okay, so between this AC ground over here and this collector terminal, this resistance RC is present, and this resistance RL is present between the collector and this AC ground over here. Okay, so between the collector and the AC ground, this resistance RC is present, and also this resistance RL is present. Okay, and we take the output voltage from this probe across this resistor RL. Okay, this capacitor again we are not putting in the circuit, this output capacitor C0 we are not putting in this circuit, because it is assumed that C0 basically acts as a short circuit at the frequency of AC that is considered. Okay, so we have our small signal or AC model. Okay, I will just take the circuit to a new page so that it is easier to understand. So this is our output voltage V0. Okay, and in this model we have to find the voltage gain, which is V0 divided by Vi, and we also have to find the current gain, which is AI equal to I0 divided by II. Okay, and I0 is basically flowing through this load resistor RL, and II is basically the current that is supplied by this voltage source Vi. Okay, so we have to solve this circuit, and it is actually not very difficult to solve. Now, since we are doing some problem, I would actually like to mention some general thing here. The resistance that is seen between the base and the ground is basically known as the input base resistance or input resistance of the transistor. Okay, so here basically let me write it here, and after that we would actually do the problem. These are general things which are not really related to the problem, but still let us do it here. The resistance seen between the base and the ground is known as the input base resistance. Okay, so basically the resistance that is seen looking at this part, so this point is basically our base. So the resistance that we look when we see here in this direction. Okay, let me denote it with some dotted line over here. the resistance seen here is known as the input base resistance, and this is basically denoted by RIB. Okay, so in this figure RIB is seen looking into the base terminal. Okay, it's not there is not much space to write, but I'll just put an arrow over here and write RIB. Okay, so now what is RIB? Let us assume that the voltage at this point, this base voltage, is basically VB. If I write Kirchhoff's voltage law for only this part of the figure, then the equation is basically VB. So this is the AC component of the base voltage, so we should write it in italics and in small a. So VB is basically equal to R pi times IB, because a current of magnitude IB actually flows through this resistance R pi, and then through this emitter a current of magnitude beta plus 1 times IB flows. IE is basically equal to beta plus 1 IB. Okay, so plus beta plus 1 plus, let me write it like this, IE times RE, so which is equal to R pi IB plus beta plus 1 IB RE. So basically RIB, which is the input resistance seen looking into the base terminal, is basically VB divided by IB, the base voltage divided by the base current, which is R pi plus beta plus 1 RE. Okay, note that because different magnitude of the current flows through the base and through the emitter, this factor beta plus 1 has actually come in here. Okay, this factor beta plus 1 has appeared here because different magnitude of current is actually flowing through the base and through the emitter. Okay, so because the magnitude of the emitter current is higher than the base by a factor beta plus 1, therefore this factor beta plus 1 comes into picture. Okay, and this is known as the resistance reflection rule. Okay, so since, let me write it here, since the emitter current, since IE is higher than IB by a factor of beta plus 1, therefore the resistance RE is multiplied by beta plus 1 when one looks into the base terminal. This is known as the resistance reflection rule. Okay, so this is known as the resistance reflection rule. Now, the total resistance seen when one looks into the amplifier is basically known as the total amplifier input resistance, or the total input resistance of the amplifier. Okay, so when we consider the total input resistance of the amplifier, this part is basically the voltage source. This total part is the voltage source, and RS is basically the source resistance. It is the resistance of the voltage source. So the total input resistance of the amplifier is the resistance that one sees when one looks into this terminal. in this direction. So this is denoted by Ri. Okay, so Ri is the total input resistance of the amplifier, and Ri is basically Vi, this voltage source Vi divided by Ii, which is the current flowing into the amplifier. Okay, not exactly Vi divided by Ii, but Ri is basically the voltage at this point. Let us call it Va. Va divided by Ii. Ii is the input current into the amplifier. So Va divided by Ii is basically the total amplifier input resistance. Okay. So let me write it here. The total input resistance of the amplifier is the total resistance which one sees when they look into the amplifier input port or amplifier input point. Okay, the total input resistance. So this is basically denoted by this term Ri, I for input. Okay, the total input resistance is the total input resistance excludes the resistance of the voltage source or the resistance of the input voltage source. So the total input resistance excludes the input voltage source resistance Rs. So from this figure, Ri is basically the parallel combination of Rb, which is this resistor over here, and Rib. So Ri is the parallel combination of Rb and Rib. Okay. So Ri, so let me write it here. So Ri is basically the parallel combination of Rb and Rib. Okay, this is true for this circuit which we are solving right now, but for a different circuit, the expression of Ri might be different. Okay, similarly, the total resistance which one sees when one looks into the collector terminal is known as the output resistance, because you are looking into the collector terminal from where we get the output voltage. This is known as the output resistance, and this is basically denoted by this term capital R0, and capital R0 excludes the load resistance. So the load resistance is the resistance which appears after the output coupling capacitor. Okay, so in this figure again, so the total output resistance is basically seen in this direction from this terminal. So this is our load resistance here, and the total output resistance R0 basically excludes this load resistance. Okay, so the total output resistance is the resistance before the capacitor, before the output coupling capacitor. And if you remember, the output coupling capacitor in the original circuit was actually present here, okay, which we have not shown here because we are assuming that the output coupling capacitor is basically a short circuit at the frequency which we are considering. Okay, so in this direction, if we look, we find R0. So R0 is basically or approximately equal to the parallel combination of RC and R0 plus RE. Okay, so R0 So it is not exactly equal because the collector current and the emitter current are slightly different in magnitude, so that it is not exactly equal, but it is approximately equal. So R0 is approximately equal to RC plus RE parallel to R0. Okay. Now this RIB, R0 and RI are the characteristics of the amplifier circuit. So the amplifier circuit is the portion which consists of the biasing resistors and all resistors excluding the load resistor and the resistance of the voltage source. Okay. So in this figure over here, which is the original circuit, the amplifier portion is basically only the amplifier is basically this part. Okay, excluding this load resistor RL, and this source resistance RL, everything is basically the amplifier. Actually, it also includes the coupling capacitors. So the coupling capacitor is included in the amplifier circuit. So this total portion, excluding the load resistance and the source resistance, is basically our amplifier. Okay, the load resistance and the source resistance does not constitute a part of the amplifier. Okay, so I am writing it here. So this is the amplifier basically. Okay, although it is a problem, I am basically trying to make you understand which part is basically the amplifier and which part doesn't constitute a part of the amplifier. Okay, so the load resistor RL, the source resistance RS and the input voltage source are basically not a part of the amplifier. The input voltage source you would be fixing to the amplifier to get the amplified signal, and the output load resistor is basically the resistor across which you want your output voltage or the amplified voltage to appear. So these two resistors and the input voltage source Vi does not constitute a part of the amplifier. Okay. So now let us go back to our problem which we are trying to solve. So the input resistance seen at the base RIB is basically equal to R phi plus beta plus 1 Re, and R phi we have calculated earlier to be 1.53 kilo ohms, and beta plus 1 is 101 and Re is basically 3 kilo ohms. So this basically gives me 304.53 kilo ohms. Okay. Now the input resistance Ri seen by the amplifier, the input resistance Ri seen by the voltage source is basically equal to, so we have written the formula there in the previous page. This is equal to Rb parallel to Rib. This is not much difficult to understand from this figure itself, that the input resistance seen looking into the base terminal is basically Rib. So Ri is basically the parallel combination of Rb and Rib. Okay, so Rb is basically 10 kilo ohms, so 10 kilo ohms parallel to 304.53 kilo ohms, and this basically gives me 9.68 kilo ohms. So 9.68 kilo ohms over here. Okay, so the voltage at the base is basically given by so we have denoted it with the letter VA and VB. So VA or VB I am writing. So if you don't remember, let me show you the figure again. So the voltage at the base is basically the voltage at this point. So VA and VB are basically the same. So the voltage at the base VA or VB is basically equal to the source voltage Vs divided by the source resistance plus the input resistance Ri into the input resistance Ri. Okay, so this is basically equal to Vs into 1 divided by Rs by Ri. Okay, let us directly put the values over here. So Rs is basically 0.5. Ri is basically Ri is 9.68 kilo ohms. So 9.68 kilo ohms over here, and then Rs is basically 0.5 kilo ohms. Okay, so Rs is basically 0.5 kilo ohms. So 0.5 kilo ohms plus 9.68 kilo ohms, which basically gives me Vs into 9.68 divided by 10.18. Okay, so this is equal to VA or VB. Now, if we want to calculate V pi, so if we want to calculate the collector current, remember that the collector current IC is basically given by GM V pi. So we have to find out what V pi basically is. Okay, so V pi is basically equal to VA or VB also you can write, because VA and VB are basically the same. So VA into R pi divided by RIB. Okay, which is basically R pi is equal to 1.53 kilo ohms, and RIB we have calculated it to be 304.53 kilo ohms. Okay, so again now VA is equal to Vs, VA is equal to Vs into 9.68 divided by 10.18, so into 1.53 divided by 304.53. Okay, and this is equal to 0.00479 Vs. Okay, so I have found out V pi as a fraction of Vs. Okay, so the collector current IC is given by Gm times V pi. Okay, Gm we have found out it to be 0.065 millimho, and V pi is basically equal to 0.00479 Vs. Okay, so this again is in milliamperes, because this Gm is basically in millimho, so this should be in milliamperes. So in bracket I am writing the units here as milliamperes here. Okay, provided that Vs is actually in volts. Okay, so this is equal to 0.00311 Vs. Okay, so we have found out the collector current as a function of our input AC voltage source Vs. Okay, now what is the output voltage? So the output voltage V0, so V0 is basically equal to minus IC times RC parallel to RL parallel to R0. Okay, sorry, R0 is not there, so R0 is basically infinity, so R0 is not there. So minus IC RC parallel to RL. So IC is basically minus 0.000311 Vs, and RC and RL are basically both 6.8 kilo ohms, if you remember. So 6.8 kilo ohms parallel to 6.8 kilo ohms, which gives me 3.4 kilo ohms. So minus 0.000311 Vs, this is the collector current, and this is in milliamperes if you remember. So I write the units here, milliamperes into 3.4 kilo ohms, which gives me minus 1.06 Vs. Okay, so V0 divided by Vs is equal to minus 1.06. So actually we do not have much amplification. The amplification factor or the gain of the amplifier, which is basically denoted by AV, is indeed not much. And then we are also asked to find out the current gain AI, and AI is basically the ratio of the output current to the input current, and I0 is basically the current that is flowing through the load resistor RL, if you remember. Okay, so we have to find this. So I0 is equal to, so the magnitude I am not considering the direction now. The magnitude of I0 is equal to V0 divided by RL. Okay, and V0 we have already found out, this is minus 1.06 Vs divided by RL over here. So 1.06 Vs divided by RL. So this is basically our output current. The magnitude of the input current II is basically Vs divided by Rs, divided by the source resistance plus the input resistance of the amplifier Ri. Okay, so Rs is basically 0.5 kilo ohms, and Ri is basically, let me check out, Ri is basically 9.68 kilo ohms. So we just can find the ratio of I0 by II from here. So the current gain AI is basically I0 divided by II, which is 1.062 into Ri plus Rs divided by RL. So 1.062, Ri is basically 0.5 kilo ohms, plus this is 9.68 perhaps, 9.68 kilo ohms. So 9.68 kilo ohms divided by 6.8 kilo ohms, and this gives me 1.59. Okay, so we have found out the voltage gain, and we have also found out the current gain of the amplifier. Okay, so this is how you basically solve this kind of problems. You basically first do the DC analysis of the circuit to find out the biasing base current, the DC base current, and then you basically find out the magnitude of R pi from the DC base current, and then you basically find out one R pi, GM and R0. Okay, once you find out R pi, GM and R0, you draw the small signal equivalent model of the transistor amplifier along with the voltage and everything, and then you basically solve it like a normal lumped resistor circuit. Okay, so this is how you basically solve this kind of problems. So let us do up to here today. Thank you everyone.